The sky was a swirling tempest of dark clouds and relentless rain, the kind of storm that turned even the bravest pilots' stomachs. Yet, amidst the fury of nature and the threat of enemy fire, Captain James Thornton gripped the controls of his battered transport plane with steely determination. His mission was clear and vital: deliver critical medical supplies to a besieged outpost cut off by floodwaters and relentless attacks. As the plane shuddered against powerful gusts of wind, James's mind raced with calculations and memories of his training. The radio crackled intermittently, enemy fighters lurking somewhere beyond the thunder's roar. Every second mattered. Every mile brought lives hanging in the balance closer to salvation. Through the rain-streaked windshield, the flickering lights of the remote outpost appeared like beacons of hope. Despite the chaos, James felt a surge of resolve. He was flying not just for duty, but for the countless souls depending on him. The storm was fierce, the dangers real, but turning back was never an option. Captain James Thornton's fingers danced over the controls, steady despite the turbulence shaking his plane violently. The storm showed no mercy. Lightning cracked across the sky and sheets of rain hammered the cockpit, reducing visibility to mere feet. Outside, the howling wind threatened to rip the aircraft from its course. Every muscle in James's body was taut with concentration. He recalled his rigorous training, navigating hostile skies, managing emergencies, and trusting instinct when instruments faltered. The lives of the isolated soldiers depended on his ability to fly through this chaos. Suddenly, a warning light blinked. Enemy aircraft detected nearby. James's heart raced, but his resolve hardened. He adjusted the plane's altitude, weaving through clouds and weather, trying to avoid detection while staying on course. Inside the cramped cockpit, tension was thick, but James remained calm, his mind laser-focused. The storm and enemy fighters were formidable adversaries, yet nothing could shake his determination to complete the mission. Lightning flashed violently, illuminating the turbulent sky as Captain James Thornton maneuvered the plane through a perilous thunderstorm. Enemy fighters had been spotted earlier, and now the skies were alive with the ominous drone of hostile engines closing in. James knew that evading them required every ounce of skill and nerve he possessed. His hands gripped the controls tightly as he dipped and climbed, weaving through clouds and bursts of lightning, each movement calculated to throw off pursuers. The transport plane shuddered under the strain, but James pushed her to the limit. A sudden burst of machine gun fire ripped through the air, bullets pinging against the fuselage, sending sparks flying. Adrenaline surged through James as he executed a daring barrel roll, narrowly avoiding the hail of bullets. Through the chaos, he kept his eyes on the instruments and the storm outside, threading the needle between nature's fury and the enemy's relentless pursuit. The battered transport plane emerged from the storm's clutches as James spotted the outpost's faint beacon through the swirling mist. The relief was palpable, but the mission was far from over. The treacherous landing zone was narrow and surrounded by floodwaters. One misstep could mean disaster. James communicated with the ground team, coordinating the drop-off with precision. The rain had eased, but the ground was slick and unstable. With steady hands and unshaken focus, he guided the plane toward the makeshift airstrip. Inside the cabin, crates of vital medical supplies were strapped securely. Soldiers below awaited desperately, their faces etched with fatigue and hope. James's heart beat faster as he prepared for the most critical moment of the mission. Touchdown was rough, but successful. The supplies were unloaded swiftly, and James knew that lives would be saved today because of his daring flight through storm and war. With the vital supplies delivered, Captain James Thornton prepared for the return journey. The storm had left scars on both the landscape and the pilot's nerves. The sky still churned with dark clouds, and the threat of enemy fighters lingered like a shadow. James ran through the pre-flight checks swiftly, his mind already anticipating the challenges ahead. Every second on the ground was a risk, and he knew he had to get airborne before enemy reinforcements could intercept. As the plane lifted off from the rough airstrip, the roar of the engines mingled with the distant rumble of thunder. James's eyes scanned the horizon, alert for any signs of danger. The storm was still a fierce adversary, but so was the war. Flying back through turbulent skies, James remained focused and calm. a steadfast guardian of hope amid chaos. The return journey was no less treacherous than the flight in. Thunder rolled ominously overhead, and rain battered the windshield with relentless force. James gripped the controls tightly, muscles tense, as the plane fought against the howling wind and sudden gusts. Enemy fighters were rumored to be patrolling the skies, adding a layer of danger that never eased. Every shadow in the clouds could conceal a threat. Every moment demanded vigilance. James relied on years of training and instinct, navigating through the storm with a steady hand and unwavering determination. The thought of the lives saved by the supplies in his hold fueled his resolve. Though the storm raged, James refused to falter. The mission was far from over, and turning back was never an option. As Captain James Thornton's plane finally broke through the storm clouds, the familiar sight of the home base spread below, a patchwork of runways, hangars, and waiting crews. Relief washed over him, but the memory of the perilous mission remained vivid. On the ground, soldiers and civilians alike gathered to greet the returning pilot. Cheers and applause filled the air as James taxied the plane to a stop. The vital supplies he had risked everything to deliver would make the difference between life and death for those stranded. Officers hurried over to congratulate him, their faces reflecting gratitude and respect. Despite the accolades, James remained humble, knowing the mission was a testament to teamwork, courage, and sacrifice. The storm had tested him, but his determination had prevailed, a shining example of heroism in the darkest hours. In the quiet moments following the mission, James sat alone in the dim glow of the base's mess hall. The adrenaline had faded, leaving space for reflection. The storm, the enemy fire, and the faces of those he aimed to save replayed vividly in his mind. He thought of the outpost soldiers, how close they had come to running out of hope, and how fragile life was in the midst of war. The weight of responsibility settled on his shoulders, a reminder of the sacrifices made and the lives forever changed. Though honored and praised, James understood that true heroism was measured not in medals, but in the quiet resolve to face danger again if called upon. The mission was over, but the journey of service and sacrifice would continue. In the days following his daring mission, Captain James Thornton spent time reconnecting with the soldiers whose lives his flight had saved. Though many bore physical wounds, the emotional scars ran deeper, silent reminders of the war's toll. James listened to their stories, shared moments of laughter and sorrow, and offered words of encouragement. The bonds forged in those tense hours became unbreakable ties of brotherhood. Together, they faced the difficult road of healing and recovery, drawing strength from shared experience and unwavering support. For James, these moments were a powerful testament to why he risked everything that stormy night, to protect, to serve, and to stand beside his comrades, no matter the cost. Though Captain James Thornton's mission was celebrated widely, he remained a humble figure, shying away from the spotlight. To him, the mission was not about glory but duty, an obligation to those in need. He often reflected on the countless others who performed similar acts of courage without recognition. Their silent sacrifices formed the backbone of the war effort. James dedicated himself to mentoring younger pilots, sharing lessons learned from his perilous flight and the importance of resilience and courage under pressure. His legacy became one of quiet heroism, inspiring others to serve with honor and dedication beyond the battlefield. Even after the accolades and the safe return, the shadows of that stormy mission lingered in James's mind. Nightmares of lightning, roaring engines, and enemy fire haunted his sleep, a constant reminder of the fragile line between life and death he had walked. He sought solace in conversations with fellow veterans and through moments of solitude, learning to carry the weight of memory with grace. James became an advocate for mental health support among military personnel, recognizing that courage wasn't just about bravery in battle, but also the strength to face inner struggles. Through his openness, he helped break stigmas and offered hope to those fighting unseen battles. As time passed, Captain James Thornton channeled his experience into helping others. He pursued training in veteran support and counseling, aiming to guide those returning from combat through their own journeys of healing. James volunteered with organizations dedicated to aiding veterans, organizing outreach programs, and sharing his story to inspire resilience. His commitment extended beyond the skies. He fought to ensure no soldier felt alone in their battles, whether in the air or within themselves. Though his daring flight was behind him, James's mission to serve and protect continued in new and vital ways. Captain James Thornton took on a new role as a mentor and leader, guiding young pilots through the challenges of military service. His firsthand experiences enriched his teachings, emphasizing courage, responsibility, and the importance of teamwork. He shared stories of resilience and the lessons learned from facing life-threatening situations, preparing the next generation to face their own trials. James found fulfillment in shaping future heroes, knowing that his legacy would live on through their successes. Years after his heroic flight, Captain James Thornton was invited to numerous ceremonies and commemorations honoring his service. Each event was a reminder of the profound impact one individual's courage can have. Surrounded by family, comrades, and grateful civilians, James humbly accepted awards and recognition, always highlighting the teamwork and sacrifice behind every success. His story became a symbol of hope, perseverance, and the enduring spirit of those who serve. Retiring from active duty, James faced the challenge of transitioning to civilian life. The discipline and structure of the military were replaced by new freedoms and uncertainties. He pursued further education, focusing on veteran affairs and community service. His mission evolved into advocating for those who served, helping them navigate the complexities of reintegration. James's resilience and leadership continued to shine, impacting countless lives beyond the battlefield. Though the war was behind him, James knew that many battles continued inside the minds of veterans. He dedicated himself to mental health advocacy, speaking openly about his own struggles and encouraging others to seek help. His efforts contributed to breaking the stigma surrounding psychological wounds, fostering a community of support and understanding. James's courage extended beyond the physical battlefield, becoming a beacon for healing and hope. As the years progressed, James expanded his efforts beyond the military community. He engaged in public speaking, educational programs, and policy advocacy to improve support for veterans nationwide. His story inspired not only soldiers but civilians, reminding all of the sacrifices made and the strength required to face adversity. James embraced new roles as a leader and mentor, always carrying the lessons of courage and resilience. In the twilight of his life, Captain James Thornton reflected on a journey defined by courage, sacrifice, and unwavering commitment. Surrounded by family, friends, and fellow veterans, he witnessed the enduring impact of his actions. His story lived on, not only in medals or speeches, but in the hearts of those inspired by his example. James's legacy was a testament to the power of determination, the bonds of brotherhood, and the spirit of service that transcends time. Though his mission was complete, the ideals he embodied would continue to guide generations to come.